evening, tubers. Madam Roy back once again. Back a little early tonight. Yes, I know. I just figured since so many people were messaging me, I figured I'd start this a little early. Interesting. When I first get this start, even before I go live, my webcam for some reason activates. So just in case you guys can see me when I don't want you to see me, I use a sock to cover it. I don't know, just whatever I had, right? Well, good evening, everybody. I hope everybody's enjoying this week-long of vlogs, week-long vlogging experiment, I should say. Oh, my goodness. Pup Dog says, hey, Matt, don't know if I'll be around, but if not, then say hi to Tyler for me. Will do. Stephen Barber wants to know, hey, Matt, I know this is early. Did you get the 8700 reloaded with a new update? No, I have not yet. I have been very busy today. We'll have to see if I can do that tomorrow. Stephen Barber also asked, this may sound like an odd question. Is your 8700 hardwired to the network or wireless? It is actually both. It uses wireless as a backup in case, for whatever reason, that port on my modem/router or gateway goes bad. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, says Hired Gun. Well, good evening to you, too. I thought I'd show you guys. I don't know if I can do this or not. Let me see if I can turn it enough so you guys can see. But there is a very, very lazy Mr. Milo. Hey, Milo. If I point to him, it might focus a little bit. There we go. He's been laying on my bed probably for the last 15, 20 minutes. And if we encourage him, he may want to come over and see us, or at least see me during this live stream. What you doing, buddy? You good boy? You good boy, Milo? I don't know why he can't focus. Let me see if I have a dirty lens here. Maybe that's it. I think that's it. It's just kind of a dirty lens. You'll be a good boy, Milo. All right, everybody. Let me get this focused back on me here. Oh, down a little too far there. There we go. All right, so we got 9 watchers and 2 likes, and I dropped my sock again. This might be the main event tonight. Who knows, right? Flips May says, hello, I am back. Hello to you too, Mr. May. Mr. Jimmy sent me what appears to be a banana, a pickle, something like that. Either way, I like them both. Very interesting. I was watching a YouTube video just before I started the live stream, and it was all about cars in Cuba. How everybody thinks that all these cars in Cuba are these really nice classic American cars like 50s and 60s Chevys, Fords, Chryslers, Dodges. And those cars are there, but for the most part, they are taxi cabs. Believe it or not, most of the cars that people own there and drive like on a daily basis are things like old Russian Fiats, and I'm trying to think. There's another Russian car. I can't think of the name of it, but for the most part, they're like these little Fiats or these little Russian cars. And I just found that very interesting. Voxels, yeah, that was it. Thank you, Hired Gun. But it was just very interesting. And another sad part of this whole thing is that the vehicles that are there, mostly American cars, because they were all imported back, when they were an open country. They weren't a communist country. So we're talking like 40s and 50s and very early 60s. At this point, most of those cars are all Bondo. Some of them look great. I mean, they actually look like brand new cars. The people really take care of them. But if you were to go up close to it and take like a magnet, it wouldn't stick anywhere because there is almost no metal left in the car because, it's near the sea, especially if you're near Havana, and everything rots out there. Very sad. And a lot of them aren't even on the original chassis. A lot of times they take things like old Mercedes-Benz chassis, import them from places in Europe, and they actually just put the body on the chassis from the old American cars. Yep, I heard that too, Hired Gun. Yeah, they did say, and a lot of times they don't even have the original engines anymore. A lot of them are diesel engines. The one that I watched, the guy said it was a Mercedes-Benz diesel engine that was in his four-door Chevy Bel Air. I think it was like a 54, 55 or something like that. Pup Dog 101. Did you see Tyler's camera video? No, I haven't yet. I have not watched any YouTube videos this evening. I'll have to try to catch up on that if I can tonight. Yeah, I did hear that a lot of they still produce cars. Man, they were they still are ugly. I'm sorry. I don't want to hate on them here if anybody's a big fan of them, but they are just so ugly. They are boxy and just the most generic looking vehicles I have ever seen. Let me see if I can pull one up. I also heard they're not that good either. Cars. It's actually made in the French group Renault, but a lot of them were sold in Russia and apparently Cuba too. Oof, I don't know. Just not a big fan of those cars. No, you didn't miss the time. I started this a little bit early because I noticed a lot of people were here, and I figured I'll just start a little bit early. But we're gonna keep going, definitely. Interesting. Hired Gun says that they had the lot of dealerships in Canada in the 80s. We never had those here. For a short time in the 80s and early 90s, we did have Renaults. Matter of fact, when I was younger, my mother owned a Renault Fuego. And if you don't know what that is, look it up. It was an interesting car. It had a four-cylinder turbocharged engine, and it was a fun car when the turbo worked. And I remember we put two turbos in that thing, and for most of the time we had it, the turbo didn't work, and without the turbo it was about 42 horsepower. With the turbo it was like 180. So you do the math. I mean, it was a dog without turbo. I remember um, Mom and I used to have to go down to Scarsdale because she was a Tupperware salesperson back then, and she used to have to go to her supplier's house. And her supplier's house was at the top of this huge hill. And I remember starting at the bottom of that hill with that car I think we used in second gear floored. We couldn't get it up past like 15, 20 miles an hour. Um, just very, very poorly made cars. I'm going to retract what I just said. The parts were very poorly made, the replacement parts. The car itself was actually a decent car, but the problem was they didn't import a lot of them into the US. Therefore, all the replacement parts you got were rebuilt parts that people had. Let's say you had early on had a turbo go bad. Well, you would send that part in, and they would get your replacement from the manufacturer, and then that part would be repaired, refurbished, and then put on the shelf somewhere. And years down the road, when we got the car, by that point they weren't selling them in the United States anymore, so you couldn't get new parts. So at that point they would take that part off the shelf that was refurbished, who knows, 5-10 years before, and then that's what you would get. And most of the times they were just very, very poor quality, extremely poor quality. I do remember the Lacar. We did have those here for a while too. The Clie, I don't think we had those here, but we had the Lacars back in the 80s. Now, bearing in mind, in the 1980s, I was very young. The only reason I remember those is I watched those videos on YouTube, commercials from the 80s and 90s, and that was something I always saw on the. Flips May said, when I lived in communist Poland, we didn't have many choices for cars. I totally understand that. I don't want to get into a political debate here, but that's why communism doesn't work, because in a lot of communist countries, the government owns everything, so you have very few choices for what you can buy. Like you have a couple of car manufacturers at the most. They tell you where you eat, where you live, where you eat, where you work, and there just isn't a lot of choice there, unfortunately. Uh, Andrew Mallory, Kia Souls are the hamster mobile office, if you remember that commercial. Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, that's a commercial that actually made me want to get a Kia Soul. I still like the Kia Souls. I think they're really cool looking. Um, it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility if I start doing Amazon delivery driving that I may actually still get a Kia Soul. I think an older Kia Soul, like a 2009, 2010, could pick one up for a couple $1,000s. That would be a great vehicle to do the deliveries in because I don't want to use my van to do that. And I know I've talked about this in other vlogs. If I get accepted, and right now I'm on the waiting list, but if I do get accepted, and I'm thinking about doing it because they've now raised the minimum wage on that to $15 an hour, which would be pretty lucrative actually. I don't want to use my van. I don't want to rack up all the miles on there. So my plan is to get what's called a beater car. In other words, a car that I take and that's all I use it for is to go make those deliveries. And then when I get home and I want to go out for a night on the town, that's when I'll take my Chrysler Town and Country out. Pacers and Gremlins, yep, AMC's. Never been. I've never. No, I've been in a Pacer, but I've never been in a Gremlin before. Somebody I know around here actually drives her a 1977, I think it is, AMC Pacer. She bought it brand new in '77, and it is still on the road today. It's a little worse for wear, but still runs. Scott Keeley said, "I'll lend you my car if you want to." That'd be nice. I think it'd be a little far to go and get it though. Wow, you were here since 5:30. Yeah. Just remember it's always 7 p.m. at night. I'm always going to start these for this one week at 7 p.m. That time might change in the future if I decide to keep doing this. But for now it's 7 p.m. Yes, Flips May, I do remember the Yugo. I've seen a few of those. There are still a few around, but not many. Hargus, a friend of his, has a Pacer. It's a fishbowl on wheels. I'll tell you something about the Pacer. It was ahead of its time, really. When you think of the suspension that the Pacer had, this Pacer is one of the first vehicles to have rack and pinion steering, an independent rear suspension, and those two things. I think it even had standard rear disc brakes or front disc brakes, probably front disc brakes. But anyway, when you couple all that in, it was a really nice handling car for the time. It was just butt ugly. And I'll be the first one to admit it. It was really ugly. Now, maybe today, if AMC released that car in 2010 or 2015, it may have actually been a success because hey, I mean, look at this. Look at the cars like the Nissan Cube. I mean, that is like the ugliest car I have ever seen, and that's really popular. I see tons of them around every day when I'm driving. Pup Dog 101. No, he must have saw the video I did, what, about a week ago. Will I keep drinking bubbly? No, I will not. That was a review I did of a drink that Dollar Tree got. I'm now thinking they probably got it because Pepsi's already written it off as probably not working. It was a sparkling seltzer-like beverage that was absolutely horrible. As a matter of fact, what I'm drinking right now is, if you can see it right there, LaCroix. I think that's how you pronounce that. Yeah, LaCroix. This is actually really good. This is the orange one, but they have lime and lemon flavor, and I think they have like a plain flavor. Sodium free, calorie free, and this is actually made here in the States, if I remember correctly, Warren, Michigan, by the Sundance Beverage Company. They actually did a documentary on YouTube about this company, how they rose from nothing into this really big company now. I will say these are not the cheapest. A 12 pack of these will run you about $5, which, when you think about it, is really a lot of money for sparkling water. But you know what? I like it, and it keeps me away from soda. It actually has a really good orange flavor too. Not like the Bubbly didn't, I should say. US Adventure asks, how do you recommend to start a YouTube channel? I want to make a lot of money doing what I love. This is my burner account. All right. I haven't even cracked that code myself. I do not make a lot of money. This is not my main job. I'm a computer tech. I have um, a lot of fields of interest, if you will. You have to find something that people really, really want to see. And unfortunately, a lot of the really successful YouTubers out there, like Kid Behind the Camera, that's the only one I can think of off the top of my head right now. But you guys know what I'm talking about. It's drama. You got to have a lot of drama, and because that's what the public likes. I mean, think about the shows that are out there. Keeping Up with the Kardashians. My Big Fat Fabulous Life is one that we do watch a lot. All these reality shows. I remember a few years back watching The Surreal Life, where they put a bunch of people in a house and you basically just watch them. They were all celebrities. Me personally, I don't want to do that. It's just not my thing. I don't like drama. I try to stay away from drama in my life, and it seems like the public wants that kind of drama. So I may never have a really, really successful YouTube channel like a lot of these people out there. I'm okay with that. That's not me. I want to. There's that song. You gotta be me. I gotta be me. How does it go? What else can I be but me? And that stands true. If you're not true to yourself, then life's not worth it, really. Andre Mallory says, "How is Milo and Baxter?" Hang on a second. You can ask Milo yourself. He's probably not going to stay too long. Say hi, Milo. Say hi, baby. You gonna be a good boy? Come on, show everybody that pretty face. Milo's doing very well, though he's a very lazy kitty. Very lazy. He sleeps about 12 hours a day, which is really typical for cats, but he's getting big. Check this out. Look how big he's getting. Let me see if I can have him lay on me for a minute or two. Ah, PewDiePie is not entertaining. I've never even heard of that. I wonder if it's something like Honey Boo Boo. That was another one that used to drive me crazy. Oh, Milo. Stephen Barber and George Blakely are saying hi. Say hi, buddy. Say hi, Milo. Say hi. He's really shedding too. I mean, look at the hair. Look at all the hair. You need to be brushed. You need to be brushed. Okay. Oh, sorry, guys. He's the one cat that really doesn't like to be held that much. I'm actually surprised he stayed that long. Robert Jones, how is Mile around dogs? I really don't know. The only cat that I had that was ever really around dogs was LT, my little female cat that we put to sleep about a year ago. I would assume he would be okay. Milo has a pretty good temperament all around. He's the cat that if you ring the door and you're new, if you're a stranger, he'll come right up to you. We call him the cat dog because he's a cat with a dog personality. Yes, I do, Pup Dog 101. I remember Kiko. It was sad that he had to put her to sleep, but she had a really good long life for a cat. A lot of people don't realize that cats can live longer than dogs. I've seen cats live 20, 25, almost 30 years. None of mine, unfortunately. The oldest cat we ever had was Simon. I think he was about 15. You guys see him down there? He's actually going under the bed, which I try to discourage him from doing because he claws at my bed skirt and he puts little holes in it. That's why I have to buy new bed skirts like every 6 months. Well, Scott, you can send the box, but there ain't going to be anything in it. Hired Gun says, our old one Buddha was 22 when we had to have him put down. That's a good age for a cat. I would like I said, I would love to see one of these cats actually live that long. That would warm my heart because I love my cats, and it's always very emotional when we have to put him down. I was so upset when we put LT down, even though she was kind of a crazy cat. And then a few years or a few months later, we had to put Simon down. I mean, it's sad, but you got to think of it this way too. These cats wouldn't live but maybe a year or two if they were out in the wild. So you're giving these animals a good home. And I'm always a proponent of taking in stray animals if you can afford it. I've volunteered for many years at the different animal shelters, really through PetSmart. And for quite a while, I did, I would go every Friday. We would take a day, and mine was Friday. I would go in there Friday morning, and I would take care of the cats, clean out the cages, feed them, give them attention. I still do that now. I go in there, but I need to start. That's one thing I'm really wanting to do in near future is to get back doing some more volunteer work. With everything that's been going on in my life, I just really haven't had a chance to do anything like that recently. No, Robert Jones says, have you seen Vet Ranch? No. To be honest with you, I am not watching TV hardly at all. The first time, there are two times during the day I watch TV. One, when I first wake up and eat my breakfast. Usually we'll sit down and Dad will have the Fox Business News channel on, and we'll watch that for about an hour. And then like late at night around 8:30 or 9, I'll turn the TV on, but usually I'll watch Netflix, like I'll watch reruns of Frasier, or I'll watch some of the old British comedies. So at least for the time being, yeah, I'm not going to be watching TV just because we're so into exercise. I mean, today alone, I did 4 miles on the treadmill, and then I did an 8 mile or almost 8 mile bike ride. So it's really helping us tremendously. When I say us, I mean Mom and I. Dad, we're still trying to get him to exercise a little more. Oh, here's Milo. Come on, buddy. I'll tell you one way I could probably get him over here. You ever seen one of these? Check this out. Cats love the laser lights. Go get it. Go get that. Go get that, Milo. He's thinking about it. What a stinker. Usually he'll pounce on it. Now he just doesn't seem to want to do anything. Come on. All right, Milo. You're not cooperating, so I'm done with you right now. He's just being a little stinker. I think he hasn't waken up yet. Flips May. PetSmart has been known for throwing live animals in the trash. I did see that video. I don't know how much I believe it. I honestly think that that was fabricated because I know a lot of people that work at PetSmart, and they cannot corroborate that. I think that that was just unsubstantiated. Probably they were trying to get ratings for the news. All right, we had a lot of people. Mr. Jimmy has 6 cats. Oh my goodness, your house must be torn to shreds at this point. I have two. I've only ever had 2 cats at once, and 2 is usually more than enough for me. Matter of fact, the other day when we were in PetSmart, we were looking at the cats there. Mom fell in love with this muted orange female cat. She was so cute, and I said, "Why don't you adopt her?" And Mom's like, "Yeah, I don't know. We don't really need more than 2 cats." And I'm like, "Yeah, you're probably right." Milo, what you doing? You see where he is? What you doing, buddy? What you doing? What you doing? Playing hide and seek? Sometimes they'll actually play hide and seek. Like if I go behind the chair and I slope down, he'll actually put his head down. And I'll go up and say peekaboo, peekaboo. Typical cat though doesn't want to play ball. He doesn't want to cooperate. He might in a few minutes. We'll see. I'm sorry to hear that. Chris Bartlett said he's allergic to cats and dogs. Yeah, I have my uncle's neighbor up in New York. She's allergic too. She can't even. I mean, she literally can't even pet them. If she touches them, she'll start breaking out. Interesting. Mr. Jimmy says Milo is the name of a type of drink here in New Zealand. I'll have to look that up. Okay, Nestle Milo. I changed the recipe in the classic Milo drink. Oh no, it's made with cocoa powder. It actually sounds a lot like what we would call Yoo-hoo here. I don't know if you ever heard of that one. Chocolate and malt powder that is mixed with hot water and milk to produce a beverage popular mainly in Oceania, South America. Looks like a lot of the South Asian African countries too. Very interesting. I wonder. I'll have to think about trying that out. I wonder if I can order that on eBay. It actually sounds really good. It's like I can, but it's really expensive. Something to look into. Ruben's here said it's starting to rain. We got very lucky. I don't think we have any rain in our forecast for the foreseeable future. Let me see what we got here. I'm actually going to pull the weather up because I know somebody out there is going to want to know what it's going to do here. Yeah, no, though it's going to be 90 tomorrow, but after that, it's going to be like in the high 70s, low 80s. And the highest chance of rain in the next for the next 7 days is on Saturday, and that's only 15%. So, hey, guess what? Garage sale fines. I know you guys want to see that. I cannot tell you how many people say, Matt, why can't you do more garage sale fines? My biggest problem is they just don't have them a lot of times, but this is coming the time when it kind of peaks around here. Garage sales in my area peak October through December, like right before Christmas, and then again February to about May. Summer is never good because it's too hot around here. People just don't want to be out. It's actually better to do it in the winter because a lot of times in the winter here it's in the 50s and 60s, and that's perfect weather to be out for selling your wares. Huh. 72 degrees, Ruben says. That's not bad. Andre Mallory asks, what do you call cheese that's not yours? Well, if it's not mine, I'd assume it's nacho cheese. Or in this case, nacho cheese. It's nacho cheese. Wow, that's pretty. Ruben says Pasadena is going to be 58 Saturday. That's actually pretty cool for your neck of the woods. If that was me, I would actually be outside. I'd have a fire in my fire pit sitting next to there. drinking one of my LaCroix and just relaxing and looking at the stars. Kind of a Zen experience, if you know what I mean. Oh, that's right. I forgot, Scott. Scott Keeley, you live in Newfoundland. I don't fancy you for the winters. I would not want to be there during the winter time. That's right. And yes, yeah, I do know that you guys use the metric system mainly because I've been to Canada many times in my life. I remember going up there in my dad's 96 Cadillac Fleetwood Brougham. I remember just when we crossed the border, we had to push that button on there to change all the miles per hour and the everything else to kilometers per hour. And in that car was the digital dash. When you push that, it would even change your temperature readings from Fahrenheit to Celsius. Scott says he wants to have a fire, but he's in too much pain. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. You know what? Rest up, and hopefully you'll feel better tomorrow. Always bring something new. Ruben says my Chromebook is running well with the latest version of Chrome OS 69. I love Chromebooks. I had one for a little while, but I really wasn't using it, so I decided to sell it like I do with everything I don't use. Scott Keeley says he has a slip disc. A slip desk, and I'm assuming he means a disc. Yeah, those can be painful. Good friend of ours at church dealt with that, and I think what he did for it is he wore one of those back braces for a while, and it helped. But eventually, I think he actually had to have surgery. Yeah, I got it. Slip disc. Eric Brunhammer, my one friend had a S10 Blazer, and I keep cha- changing his dash to metric on him just to mess with him. It must have been one of those digital dash ones. That's funny. I'm not much of a practical joker myself, but I like a good practical joke if I'm not the butt of that joke, if you guys know what I mean. Steve Belavia, you are the one that I met your daughter and your wife in Kroger that time. He says, today is my daughter's birthday. Can you say happy birthday to Gianna? She is the one who saw you in Kroger. Happy birthday, Gianna. That is awesome. I hope to see you guys again sometime. Though I don't really go into Kroger an awful lot. I might get in there once a month or so. Andre Mallory says, my friend wants a laptop. What kind do you recommend? Boy, that's an open-ended question. The newer Dell laptops seem to be built very well. They're using better components. They're not using questionable hard drives from third world countries. I'm not going to name names here, but there are a few manufacturers out there that do that. But Dells are a good option. I also like the HPs, but the Pro Series ones. Matter of fact, you can go online through eBay and Amazon, look up the HP ProBooks like the ones that I have, and if you can get those refurbished, those are rock solid, reliable computers. And of course, being they're professional grade or business class systems, they're built really well. They generally use metal construction more than plastic, though they still have some plastic parts. But those would be my recommendations. I'm sure you'll get some more people commenting, and please do. If you guys have another opinion, put it there in the chat. We got 22 likes and 22 watchers and 9 likes. A little bit of my dyslexia coming through there. Hit that like button if you really like this video. And remember, the super chat, the contest is still going on. So if you guys want to see me go on a roller coaster next year, make sure you put out those super chats as you can. Scott Keeley says, can't see how many HP laptops I fix, especially in the 2000s. Yeah. I remember when I worked at Best Buy, the DV6000 and the DV9000 series, 2007 to about 2010. They were the worst offenders. They were the only laptops, I kid you not, that a month out would come back with bad wireless cards and bad motherboards a lot of times. And sometimes the two went hand in hand. I think what actually was happening was the wireless cards they put in were faulty, and they were actually blowing out the slot on the motherboard. Look it up. It was a known problem. It was a total disaster. I think they even had a lawsuit over that as well, if I remember correctly. It was a class action lawsuit where people got certain amount of money back if they applied within time. The HP 2000 laptops, yeah. I'll be honest with you. I actually think the DV7 or the DV7000 or 6000, DV9000s were worse, but the HP 2000 laptops were just cheap. I mean, they just were so poorly made. They would last a decent amount of time, but what would happen on those was the keyboards, the paint on the keyboards would flake off and wear off. I remember on the HP 2000s, especially the paint around the touch pads would wear off very quickly, and they had some hinge problems too. Eric Brummer says, my EliteBook is great, but the ancient AMD graphics are killing me right now. Yeah, that is a good laptop. You definitely may want to upgrade in the future, but I think you may want to hold tight after that recent big purchase of yours. Nick Roberts. Hello, Nick. I haven't seen you in a little bit. Chris Bartlett. Once I got a bunch of Dell Optiplex 755 systems, just only 2 had RAM, none had hard drives. Those were very well made systems. The Dell Optiplex series, for the most part, is great. Some of my favorite ones from that generation were the 760s and the 780s, which introduced the DDR3. I think the 760s, 755, 740s were DDR2, but the 780s used DDR3. Pretty much all those, you could have the gamut of processors that were available in that time. They were all Intel, but you could have them as low as the Intel Celerons or as high as the Core 2 quads. Andre Mallory asks, would you ever get a tattoo? No, I would not. Mainly for religious reasons, but also my skin is very sensitive. I wouldn't want to risk because I can almost guarantee you I'd probably get an infection from a tattoo. Scott Keeley says, I love the 780, 790, 980, 990, 710s, and 720s. The older GX520 and the 620s I like, but too slow for now. Yeah, and I didn't like the 520s because they, I believe, only had the 2 RAM slots, and they did not have a PCI Express expansion slot, if I remember correctly. I mean, they were all very well built systems, but they're getting a little too old, especially the GX520 and GX620s. 23 watchers and 14 likes. Awesome. We're getting there. Getting there. Be nice to hit 30 one time. Well, we'll see what happens as the week goes on. It's a distinct possibility. Flips May said, I have a Dell Latitude E4300. It has a terrible screen. It looks worse than most laptop screens from the 90s. If I remember correctly, that has an LED backlit screen. And at least on laptops, I do not like LED backlights. I actually prefer the older LCD screens versus the LED backlit ones where they used to use the fluorescent backlight versus using like individual LED lights to illuminate every pixel. That's just, if that's my opinion. I know a lot of people probably prefer the newer LED ones, but to my eyes, the older screens just look better. Oh, I know, Robert. It's only hump day, but you know what? That's one nice thing about being self-employed. I have a boss. Don't get me wrong. The bosses are my clients. But it's nice because I can take a day off here or there. Like if I don't feel like working one day and I just want to focus on, exercise like pretty much I did today, that's what I'll do. And I highly recommend it. If there's any possible way you can become an entrepreneur out there, do it, because working for yourself is one of the best things in the world. I don't care what people say. There are going to be hard times. You're going to have times where you don't have a lot of money coming in, where you have people complaining at you. It's just going to happen. But let's face it, that happens in a normal 9 to 5 job if you work for somebody. And doing that, you don't have any of the freedoms that, us entrepreneurs have. Pupdog 101 says, I gotta go. Have a good one, Matt. You too, sir. Really, really enjoy your evening. Ruben says, you better check Garage Sale Finder tomorrow for a yard sale hunt on Saturday. Yeah, I'll do that too, though at least in my area, Garage Sale Finder hasn't been very reliable lately. I'm actually better off checking our local newspaper. It comes in spurts. Garage Sale Finder is good for like finding the community sales, but they don't always list the individual garage sales. Not too much listed this week. Oh, I almost forgot. Next week, I think it is, our community's having its garage sale, so definitely gonna be hitting that one up. Never had one in the fall. Usually it's just a summer thing. Excuse me for a second. I got to rearrange. My rear end is becoming numb at the moment. 21 watchers, 15 likes. That's awesome. I'm so glad that you guys are enjoying this. This experiment, in my opinion, has become a success. Scott Kearley says CFL screens are nice too. I've never had a system with a CFL, but yes, I've heard they are decent. Nick Roberts, I got a Dell Atom netbook from a guy for free. He said the 8 gigabyte SSD was dead. He tried everything, could not get it to work. Even dropped it off to me. All it needed was the SSD to be formatted. That happens all the time if they're not tech savvy and they don't know. I mean, that's definitely a good score for you. I've gotten quite a few systems like that. Oh, got to show you guys something really cool that I traded for. I can't really say where I got this because the person wants to remain anonymous, but I wound up, actually, I shouldn't say I traded for it. I actually paid up a little for this one, but it wasn't that bad. Got myself a new tablet to play with. This is the Slate 8 Plus tablet. And I may do a review of this in the future if, again, I get a chance to. You guys can read the specs on that if you want right there. I'll put it close to the camera. But it has a 8-inch HD display, 800 by 1280, so not 1080p, more like 720. 1.3 gigahertz quad-core processor, 2 gigabytes of RAM, it says 16 gigabytes of ROM, but it's really like a 16 gig SSD that's in there. 2 megapixel front camera, 5 megapixel rear camera, 802.11 ABGNN, 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz band compatibility. So that's nice to see, especially in what I assume is a lower end tablet. Android 7.1, Bluetooth 4.2, and a 4,500 milliamp hour battery, which is really nice. That's actually close to what my Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus has. I didn't pay a lot for this. I gave the guy $40. I knew they were selling, I think, around 120 to 140, because this is actually the newer model. It's the ANS AQT82. The 8.0 is the one that you see a lot now, and that's going for like $60 to $80. But this is the newer model. And as you can see, it is sealed. It's never been opened. So I can't wait to use that later on. I'm not going to do an unboxing because I absolutely despise unboxing videos. I think they're boring as can be. What I'll probably do is once I start using this more, I'll go ahead and just do a generalized review about it. Ruben says the Slate 8 use Windows. No, it's Android. Android 7.1 to be specific. Good version of Android. Scott Kelly says another China special, I'm sure. Yeah, it probably is, but what was nice about the guy that I got it from actually let me use one that he opened because he had a bunch of these, and it was decently fast. It had a really nice screen, and the one thing I really liked about it, it has a great speaker in there, and that's important because primarily what I use tablets for are watching YouTube videos, and the camera was good too. So hey, you know what? I may actually do a live stream from this one day if it's possible. Sometimes it doesn't actually let you do it, but we'll see. Nick Roberts says he just bought with money he got from doing surveys an $80 US dollar NZ Telcast X98 Plus 2, 9.7-inch IPS Retina. What is that? 2008 by 1536. So that's really nice. That's actually closer to 4K. Dual boot with Windows 10 and Android 5.1, 64 gigs of RAM, 4 gigs of RAM with an Intel Atom X5 Z8300. Nice, very nice score. That's a really decent system, tablet, I should say. I need to look that up. If you get a chance, Nick, if they're still selling those, can you send me the link to that? I might be interested in purchasing one myself. Hired gun. I like the Samsung I have, 7.5-inch. I don't even bring my laptop anymore when I travel for business. You know, it's funny. I used to always bring my laptop with me no matter where I go. But when I went to my cousin's wedding in Sioux Falls, I didn't bring it either. I just brought my tablet and my smartphone. I pretty much did everything from my smartphone. I totally agree with you. You know, laptops are really not necessary anymore. Desktops, on the other hand, are nice to have because that's like your base station. You can save all of your data to that from your cell phones, your tablets, your Chromebooks, and you know it's safe at home. And that's why I actually sell a lot more desktops than I do laptops, just with that sales pitch alone. Robert Jones, Matt, have you ever fixed a cell phone? Once, and I would never do it again. Main reason is, and I know I've said this before, I have very short, stubby fingers, and I don't have a lot of dexterity in my hands. So I can't work on those small, intricate parts. It's just not possible for me. Many years ago, I had gotten a very bad bacterial infection, which affected the nerves near my neck, and then actually went down to my ulnar nerve. And for about 2 to 3 months, I had no feeling in most of my hands. The feeling came back for the most part, but unfortunately, the range of motion and the dexterity did not. So it's probably something I'll have to live with for most of my life. And also, years before that, I suffered with Bell's palsy. Bell's palsy is like a temporary paralysis of the face. So basically, it was the right side of my face for about 2 or 3 months went totally numb. And that also affected some nerves in my neck and my shoulder. So I'm feeling a lot better now. Hopefully, none of all that stuff is in my past, to be honest with you. Stephen Barber says, me personally, I can't live without a laptop for travel. I just can't get used to a phone or tablet. It happens. It's just whatever you're more comfortable with. I'm not saying anything against it, but just what I've seen by, observing people. Most people these days are ditching the laptop and the tablet and pretty much just using their smartphone. I use my phone probably for 80 to 90% of my computing tasks during the day. At night, I'll use my Dell XPS 8700, and hopefully going to start using this tablet a little bit more. Another interesting thing with this tablet, it's actually 4G capable. It's got a slot in there for a SIM card. So if I want to bring this to, say, something like AT&T, T-Mobile, Sprint, I can actually get 4G internet access with this. Though I probably won't, to be honest with you. I just care that it has Wi-Fi. That's all I really need it for. Again, if I need to do anything while I'm on the road, my cell phone works sufficiently for that. Scott Kearley, I'll address this real quick. He said, I don't like to ask, but have you heard from that girl lately? You haven't spoke about her for a long time. Yeah, my ex, and she is my ex. I don't know exactly what happened. She just, I don't know. I don't want to speculate. The last I heard, she actually was moving out to California to be with someone else. We had fun. We dated for a few months, but at the end of the day, we just found out we really weren't compatible, and she broke it off. Yes, she did break it off, and I was a little hurt in the beginning, but even I realized that there was no long-term relationship possibility there. We just had too many differences. I'd like to find somebody. I'll be honest with you. I've dated, quite a few times in my life, and I still have not found that perfect person that matches my personality. I know Chris's tech channel. He's getting married. Hope he doesn't mind me saying that, but he promoted that, I think, on YouTube the other day. I'm hoping to find my soulmate. I've been looking. I used to peruse the Craigslist personal ads. Now, unfortunately, they've taken those off. Um, okay, yeah. I don't know what's going on there. Yeah. One thing I'll ask you guys, and I probably please don't ask other people about my personal business. I know Eric's had some inquiries from a few of you out there about my personal business. My personal business is just that, my personal business. And if we have people offending, in other words, if this becomes a problem, I will be blocking those people. And you out there know who you are that are doing this. So please do not ask. Don't make me block you. And thank you, Eric. I really appreciate that. You are a good and true friend. You've really helped me weed out some of the people that shouldn't be here. You guys see that tail? Milo's still sitting on that chair. Scott Keeley says, it's hard to find what you think at the beginning is not always the case. I hope you get a girlfriend. You're an amazing person and deserve to be happy. Well, thank you very much. I consider myself a happy and fairly well-adjusted person. And you know what? If I don't find that significant other, I'm okay with that. It would be nice if I have good friends and I do have some good friends, that's good enough for me. I don't know. I just have to see what happens. Yeah, Ruben, that you're absolutely right. Don't ever ask people on YouTube for their personal business. I mean, it's not right. There are things in everybody's life that need to stay personal or within their select group of friends. I consider you guys all my YouTube friends, but there are things, I'll be honest, I will not share with you. I mean, that's just the way it is. There's things you guys don't want to share with me. I'm gonna read that because I think he hit the I just think that's so funny. Eric Brunhammer said, "I mean, hey, if I can find somebody, anybody can find somebody." I'm assuming that's how you probably would have said it. Eric, you are a very very unique person, but you know what? You are also a very personable person, and I think you deserve everything that you've gotten, a lovely wife, and I hope that everything works out for you because you make me laugh. Whenever you come over, I never laugh so much, to be honest with you. And I love doing those live streams together. And I'm hoping we can do another one the next time we get to see each other. Flips May says, you need to start a family. I can tell women will find you interesting. They already do. It's just whether or not I find them interesting. See, relationships are a two-way street. You go through the date, you go through the initial meetup, and at first, you realize, yeah, you have similar interests, and then it goes on for a few months. And unfortunately, that's where my last girlfriend and I realized that we just didn't have enough in common. What I'm hoping, and again, you guys, a lot of you guys have been with me for a while, know I've been talking about this, is I really want to get my own place. Once I get my own place and I I feel like I'm more stable, I think at that point I'll have the more of the self-confidence I need to go out and actually get somebody. But I'm not going to hold off. I still put myself out there. If I see somebody that's single and I find she's attractive, I'll go up and talk to her a little bit, but just haven't found that person yet. Eric Brunhammer says, Rotella is kind of sitting over my shoulder watching the screen too and getting pet. You know what? Let's try something here. All right. There we go. Hey, Milo. Want to say hi to everybody? Hey, buddy. This is his new thing. He loves to be on the chair like this. He doesn't want to look at the camera. Well, that's too bad, buddy. Isn't he? He is cute. He's really a friendly cat. Wee. He's camera shy. What can I tell you? I thought we'd give it a try. Oh yeah, he's still in the chair. He is. He's just not wanting to look at the webcam right now. Flips May says, I don't know if women would like me with the hobby of collecting vintage IBM computers. Hey, you know what? Need to find a woman that actually worked for IBM. I bet you they'd find that very interesting. Nick Roberts says, my three cats are annoying me right now. I kind of wish he was annoying me more. It'd be good for ratings, don't you think? Well, that was enough of him. You guys don't usually get to see me from this angle. If you guys can kind of tell, I have lost a few more pounds. My main problem area right now is still the middle section. I still have a lot of that loose skin. So once again, I really think that skin removal surgery is probably going to be in my future, but I'm trying everything possible to minimize what I'll need to get done. Not only did I do an 8-mile bike ride today, I did a 60-minute intense workout, walked 20, hang on a second. Let me tell you, I'll tell you in a minute how many steps I've actually gotten in. 21,000 steps, so 9.10 miles or 9.1 miles. And I actually did 4 reps with the weights, which you can see in the background right over there. So the best thing I could tell you guys to do, and I'm going to change the topic here to fitness just for a few minutes. If you're trying to lose weight, do as much exercising as possible. Now, you got to build yourself up. Don't just go out there and try to do as much as I am right now. It took me almost a year to build up to this, but if you start doing a little bit each day, you'll build on that really quickly, and you'll be really surprised at how much you can do within a week, a month, 3 or 4 months. It really does add up. And please don't eat late at night. I've said this so many times, and I'm going to say it again. I stop eating between 3 and 4 at night, and I don't eat again until breakfast the next day, which is around 8 or 9 in the morning. So let's see, what would that be? Oh, let's see, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. That's about a 16 to 17 hour intermittent fast, and that really does help increase your metabolism, and it gives your body a chance to work through all the food that you ate throughout the day. Tony Jones is here. He says, I now have an apartment and I move in October 15th. That is awesome. I'm so proud of you. I know you've come a long way over the years. Hopefully, I'll get there myself, maybe within the next year or so. Flips May says, later, everybody must take a Marlboro break. Oh, please give those up. My family smoked. My mother smoked. My uncle smoked. My uncle smokes, I should say. My grandmother smoked. My grandfather smoked. Luckily, they really didn't have any ill effects from it, but it's just such a nasty habit. Scott Keeley says we are actually at the 1 hour mark now, believe it or not. Figured I'd want to get it there at least today because last night I kind of shortchanged you guys a little bit, and I'm sorry about that. I had things that I have to do, and again, some nights it'll be some nights I'll try to make it as much as possible to the hour mark, but some nights it might be 45 minutes. Other nights it might be an hour and 5 minutes. We'll just have to see what happens. Tonight we've had a pretty good showing. We're down to 17 watchers now, but that's all right. We got even numbers here. 17 watchers, 17 likes. My ADD thanks you, and my OCD thanks you. Robert Jones says, I have a tranquil effect around women to the point that they have their girl talk around me. Okay, I got you. So basically they're comfortable talking to you like you're one of the girls. That can be a blessing and a curse because I had some girlfriends that were like that, and they shared some things with me that I really didn't want to know. So be careful there. Chris Barlow says, hate being near smoke. I can't breathe when people smoke. Makes me short of breath. Same here. And I actually had a doctor tell me that's because I'm allergic to something in it. Probably the tar, could be the nicotine, but whatever it is, I'll never do it. I actually tried a cigarette once and a cigar once, and I absolutely hated it. I didn't even finish the cigarette. I took maybe 3 or 4 puffs of the cigar, threw it out on the ground, wasted a brand new cigar, and I said, that's it. Never doing this again. Look who came back. Oh, yeah, I know. This is one cat that absolutely hates being held. I mean, I don't know what it is. He just absolutely hates it. Don't you, Milo? Boy. Let's be real quiet for a minute. Maybe he'll stay. Such a good boy. Good kitty. He just does not want to cooperate tonight. No, you don't, Mr. Milo. You're being a stinker. I tried. And now he's going to lay on my tablet, so I got to keep moving that around. Cats and boxes, I'm telling you. Hired Gun says, I quit 4 years ago after 31 years, up to 3 packs a day. Yeah, I hope he doesn't mind me saying, I think my father was at there at one point, but they haven't smoked for years now, and they have no ill effects from it. So if you quit smoking now, chances are you'll be fine. Robert Jones says, I did that with chewing tobacco. I was sick as a dog. Oh, don't tell me that. I met a couple of people once when we were out in Tennessee picking up a car. They were chewing tobacco, and it is the most vulgar, disgusting habit I've ever seen, even worse than cigarette smoking. And the smell from that used chewing tobacco and just the look of it, because you can see they have it in that little bottle. They call it their little spit bottle. Oh. I'm changing the subject. All right, tubers, I'm ending it here tonight. I'm losing my voice, as you can tell. Another successful night. Let's see. This is day 4, so we got 3 more days of this. What I'm thinking about doing Saturday is maybe for the live stream, I'll do the garage sale find video live. What do you guys think about that? Let me know in the comments. Please continue to like and subscribe. And as always, have a blessed day, everybody.